Han är ständigt favorittippad till Nobelpriset i litteratur, har ännu inte fått det. Han är en av de främsta afrikanska författarna och han har kommit hit och jag intervjuade honom häromdagen. Han heter Ngugi Wa Thiong'o och nu ska ni få höra konsten att berätta en historia. Hello and welcome to my show, Mr. Ngugi Wa Thiong'o.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so glad that you came here because I know you have a busy schedule in Sweden.
Yeah, I know. I'm just not coming from South Korea on my way back to California, where I live. Yeah.
And where you teach as a professor.
Yes,
in
the
University
the University of California, Irvine. Yes. Yeah.
We just started to talk about the during the weekend there was a literature festival and one of your books. A book that you didn't even intend to produce or print became the favorite.
Yeah, actually, it's an incredible story. In my house, in our family, instead of material gifts, we sometimes demand stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, say for Christmas or birthdays. And so this is a story I wrote for my daughter. Some 2 or 3 years ago, and it's called The Upright Revolution, or How Humans Came to Walk Upright. And, you know, and it's all because of the struggle between legs and hands. Otherwise, I imagine a period when all human beings used to walk on all fours, like all other animals, until there was a quarrel between hands and legs as a kind of sibling rivalry to see who was more important to the body than the other. And this resulted in eventually in their separation.
So the human being became upright.
Upright, so that
they separated,
so that they can occupy 2 different spheres.
Who won then? They are as important.
No, not important. Who won? I'm more like they learn that they all have to work together.
They work together.
Yeah, they have to work together. There's not any part of the body which is really more important than another. They are all important. But the importance is how they work together.
But it's also interesting because this is written on your in your native.
Yes, I wrote it in Gikuyu language, which is my mother tongue.
Your mother tongue,
right? And then, I kept it aside. After I gave it to Mommy, my daughter. I forgot about it, like I forget many others I've written for their children, until a group in Kenya, who have a magazine called Jalada. They wanted a story in an African language because they were bringing out a translation issue. And they want a new story from me. But for some reason, because I so wanted to write them a very good story, nothing happened.
In your head?
Yeah. So then I remember the one that I had written for my daughter, and I just gave it to them, you know, to do with whatever they wanted. Actually, they brought it out online in March this year, right? And within, I don't know, up to now, it has been translated into 54 different languages. 40 of them are African, 6 European, 6 Asian, and 2 Middle Eastern.
But the important thing is that it was originally written in your mother tongue.
Oh, yeah, that's what's important.
Because that's your point, to reach out to your people in Kenya.
Yeah, the point is that African languages generally have been dominated by European languages. Many African intellectuals write in English and French and so on. So what this story has shown is that you can write in an African language or in your mother tongue, whatever is your mother tongue, and you can still reach the world through translation or through other means, you know. So actually one of the interesting things during the festival is that my publishers, Modernista, have brought out a small, the Swedish translation. They have brought it out as a book, small book. And during the festival, it sold 200 copies within 2 days. Yeah, the most they sold, at the
But this
festival.
is also a story that you're telling me now about the importance of storytelling.
Yes,
because
absolutely,
you're
yeah.
always talking about that, how important it is. If you have been living hundreds of years ago, all your children and grandchildren have come to you, sitting there around the fireplace and telling stories. Now your children is spread all over the world.
Yeah, they are all over. Some of them, 5 of them are writers in their own right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and publishers, and publisher authors. But the question of storytelling is very important in this sense that, first of all, I grew up in a storytelling session. We didn't have television or radio in those days. I was born in 1938. I grew up in a colonial situation in Kenya. So storytelling in the evening was really our entertainment and something we always looked up to. But come to think of it, people are telling stories all the time. Any conversation, but even today, among any two people, anywhere in the world, people don't lecture. When you and I meet, we don't lecture each other. We don't philosophize immediately. We tell each other stories. Like when I met you, I told you I'm coming from South Korea on my way to Los Angeles. And then you asked me, where do you live? Los Angeles. And then I said Orange County.
And you asked me about this program.
Yes. So we tell stories all the time. Yeah. People don't lecture each other when they meet or talk at each other when they meet. They say, I'm coming from the cinema. Oh, how was it? And then they tell how it was and whom they encountered, either on the way to the cinema or away from the cinema. So it's not that sometimes we don't recognize that's how we relate to each other in every day, anywhere in the world.
Across the borders.
Yes, we tell stories all the time.
But your own story, you've used your own story in different ways, because your own story is also Kenya's story, sort of. And then 1977, you were imprisoned without charge.
Yes, 1977.
So it's a very tough story, your personal story. And I know that Devil on Cross was written on toilet paper in your cell.
Yeah. What happened was, I was involved in theater in an African language in the village, and this theater was stopped on November 16, 1977. And on December 31st, the same year, I found myself in a maximum security prison without trial or without going through a court of law. And the question really for me was, how was I going to survive in a maximum security prison without books, without radio, without pen, and so on? So I managed to get a little pen from them when I told them that I was going to write a confession about my political scenes, but really all I wanted was
the pen.
The pen. But for paper, I had to use the only paper available to me, which was toilet paper. So the novel Devil on the Cross, which I wrote in Gikuyu language, not in English, I wrote in Gikuyu language in prison. It was later translated as Devil on the Cross in English, and now it's out in
What is the original title in your language, mother tongue?
Yes, Shaitan Mudarafaine. Literally, devil
on the cross.
Or Satan on the cross. Right.
And the interesting thing was, when you were released, they didn't take the toilet paper away from you. They let you
No, there was a drama about it, which I tell in my forthcoming memoir next year, which is a reissue of a memoir I wrote, my prison memoir, but updated, called Detained. It will come out next year. And really what happened was that in the course of my 1 year in prison, one time the authorities raided our cell, and then they found a pile of toilet paper, and they said, you're only allowed to have one. So by mistake, they took away the book and so on. But the officer who read it, or part of it, said it was harmless, but I should not be using so much toilet paper. I'm allowed only one. So
it's a fantastic
that was
story
very,
how it came out. It became a big success.
Yeah, but it became a big success in Gikuyu language. And really, in so many ways, became the founding text of modern Gikuyu language literature.
Recently, it was announced that Bob Dylan got the Nobel Prize of Literature. Now, here we go again. And you've been the favorite for so many years. What do you think about the prize this year?
The favorite. Well, he's a great musician, and I don't know what is in the mind of I don't know what went in that boardroom when they meet.
Nobody knows.
So, so really don't know what the calculations that went into their making that decision. But they get to a great musician,
But
yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And to be a poet as a musician, is that as much worth as writing in a book?
No, not. I mean, they're two different things. I write novels. Some of them are very poetic, right? And you are also a novelist. I'm sure some of your novels are also very, very poetic. The different genres makes a question of, like, my main area is writing books. Obviously, his main area is music, right? But, there's probably overlap and so on. So obviously, since I was not a member of the group, I don't really know how they were calculating, what they were thinking about.
Are you disappointed every year this is announced that you were not the one that got it?
Not really. You know what I always say? Actually, I say the fact there are so many people in the world who think that my books are worth the prize.
Yeah.
Actually,
that's enough.
Yeah, I'm actually. I get. In a sense, I'm grateful, right? That there's so many people all over the world.
Even the little books
the
this
letter
weekend.
I get from people, everything in the press and so on.
But it's also a lot of pain in your novels. Told through different characters about the story of Kenya and the story of Africa.
Yes.
And you are not able to go back to your country.
Yeah, after 19, what happened was that when I came out of prison after 1 year, when the first president, Kenyatta, died, the next president, Moi, released us after 1 year, all the political prisoners. But then we discovered he was clearing the prisons for his own of prisoners. And he's the one who forced me literally into exile under threats of assassination. So from about 1982, I stayed. I never returned to Kenya until 23 years later, when the Moi regime was replaced by another. Right? Yeah. So it's like prison and exile, right? But again, the way I look at it is no matter where I am, I try to connect with my own country, Kenya, with Africa and the world. So actually it's in exile that I wrote one of my major novels called Wizard of the Crow in Gikuyu. You know, wrote it, part of it in New Jersey, in America, and the other part.
So your word is spread all over the world, really.
Yeah, you know,
about Kenya.
Wherever I am, I try to get inspiration from wherever I am, in order to connect, you know, with Kenya. Yeah.
Oh, there are so many questions, but I hope you will be able to come back another time, and I will put all your novels out in my book club list.
Okay, that'd be very nice. You know.
Thank you so much, and have a safe trip home.
Okay,
back home
thank you.
to California. Thank you.